And here I am. I'm back and better than ever. Or maybe just the same. I'm not sure, but we'll find out starting today. It is Tuesday, September the 6th, 2022. We're past Labor Day. We're past all the summer holidays. Yeah, technically it's still summer for 2 weeks, but who the hell cares? It's football season. No more pool, no more air conditioning. Mine's not working anyway. Hopefully get it fixed today. But a lot to get to as we start the fall. The Buckeyes played their first game. The Browns play their first game in 5 days. The NFL season starts in 2 days. A miserable weekend for the Guardians. I'm getting to it all right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull.
Podcast is not for the faint of heart.
And I do think it's time for the Browns to move on.
It's not for those who ride the fence.
He's proven nothing.
But if you're looking for someone who tells it like it is about Cleveland sports,
everybody does fandom their way.
You've come to the right place.
I don't think he's any good.
It's time for the bullpen with Adam the Bull.
You know, there's a lot of benefits to being a college football player at Ohio State. And there's more now, because now guys can actually make money off their name. I mean, what a crazy thing. Everybody else can do it. And the only people that couldn't do it were people that are stuck in radio contracts and people that were stuck in college football contracts. And now at least the college football people can make their own money. And so can I. Now, Anyway, But now college football players, there's a lot of good things about being an Ohio State football player. It sets you up, if you're good, to be in the NFL. You can make a ton of money. You have celebrity, you have fame, you win a lot of games. There's a million people. There's a million benefits. But there is one downside to being an Ohio State football player, and that's the pressure. Now, the coach, I don't care about. The coach has a lot of pressure, too, but the coach is getting paid millions of dollars, and part of the reason he's getting paid that much is because of the pressure of being the Ohio State coach. But college football is really the only sport where you can win by double digits and it still feels crappy to everybody, right? And it's really stupid if you think about it. And that's because the college football system is stupid. It's stupid because in the end, teams compete for the playoffs based on opinions of people watching the games or maybe not even watching the games. That's how college football has always been done. And that's dumb, but people love it. Like I've said a million times I didn't grow up watching college football. It's never moved the needle for me like it moves for others. I like since after living most of my last 25 years either in upstate New York or here, I have grown in my interest in college football has grown, but I'll never be a diehard college football fan. And part of it is because of the system. However, and I'll get to the Buckeyes game itself, the system is going to change. There's going to be 12 teams, and what I like about that is, there's still going to be some eye test, but ultimately, if you win your conference, you're in. The top 6 ranked teams, which is going to be the Power 5 conferences, although I don't know if the Big 12 should count as a Power 5 in a few years when all these teams change hands, right? But that's going to change. There's going to be automatic bids, and that's never been the case before. Never. And so I think that's good, and we could stop with this nonsense about style points. It's something I've always hated about college football. I never got why people liked that aspect of it, and now it's finally going to go away, at least for one team in 6 different conferences. And so it takes me to Ohio State. Yeah, a lot of people thought locally that Ohio State would win big over Notre Dame. But let's face it, we're homers. We're homers by nature. And I don't know, the more I know a sport, and this is the same for all of you, whether you talk on the radio, whether you're on TV, whether you're doing a podcast, whether you're doing your own podcast, whether you're just a Joe Schmo who works a normal 9-to-5 job or whatever time job, and you just love sports. We all have a sport that we know the best. Now, my best at one sport may be better than your best at one sport, or your best at one sport may be better than mine. But we all have a sport that we know the best, and then it goes down, right? And so it's all a guessing game, predicting games, who's going to be a good player, who's not going to be a good player. All of us, it doesn't matter what we do for a living, think we're experts at sports. Man, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us do, right? And so I know that when I talk about a player, especially when it comes to the NFL and baseball, I talk as if I'm 100% right, even though I know I'm not always going to be right. I know that. But I'm confident at the time I'm saying it. I would never say something that I wasn't confident in. I wouldn't say it as if it were a fact if I wasn't confident that it would turn out to be, even if it turns out that I'm wrong. At the time I'm saying it, I wholly believe it. But the less you know a sport, the better feel you have for it. The less educated your guess is. So for me, I know baseball the best, and then football, the NFL is just a pinch below for me. And then it's a big drop down to the other sports. Probably NBA third, and then college football fourth, and then I don't know squat about any of the other sports. I used to know college basketball when I was a kid. The 18-year-old Adam the Bull would have been much better doing sports talk in a college basketball town than this Adam the Bull. I don't know my ass from my elbow when it comes to college basketball. Nothing. And so the less I know a sport, the less educated my guess is, because it's all a guess. Again, even the GM of a team picking players is guessing. Now, his guess is a more educated guess than most of us, but it's all a level of guessing. The more you know, the more educated the guess is, the more likely you are to be right, but it's never a guarantee. Otherwise there'd be, the best GM would get it right every time, and he doesn't. Look at Belichick. Look at some of his draft picks in recent years. They've been awful. I feel like every wide receiver he's drafted for the last 10 years has stunk. He's a great football mind, one of the best out there. It's all an educated guess. And I go down this road to say that, for me, I know the Buckeyes pretty well, but I don't know Notre Dame. I'm not a phony about it. So when I picked Ohio State to beat Notre Dame big, it's a guess, just like anything else. But it's a less educated guess for me than it is when I'm picking the Browns and the Panthers or the Guardians and whatever. Now, there's other factors because baseball is a lot more random than football. In that way, but still, I feel much more confident in making a prediction on the Browns and Panthers than I do on Ohio State and Notre Dame, because I know the Browns better than I know the Buckeyes, and I know the Panthers a lot better than I know Notre Dame. And so, and part of that is, for me, is just the job, right? I'm going to talk a lot more about the Browns than I'm going to talk about the Buckeyes. So I get to know, and I play fantasy football, and so you get to know, that's part of it. You can't judge based on fantasy. I'm not saying that, but it makes you more familiar with players, a little easier to do research and work when you already have a baseline where you're coming from. I say all this to get to the point that I couldn't believe my timeline on Twitter. People are so crazy. It's like if Ohio State doesn't crush every opponent they play, it's the end of the world. It's the first game of the season. They played the number 5 team in the country. Now, I think Notre Dame is overrated every year, but I only base that on the fact that they never seem to beat good teams when it matters. Not because I really know anything about Notre Dame. I couldn't have named 5 players on Notre Dame before this game. And so when Ohio State wins by 11 instead of covering the 17-point spread, there's so much angst. But here's the good news. The Ohio State defense played pretty well. Even after that long kick return to start the game, they stopped them and held them to a field goal, and they after that, they scored 7 points the rest of the game. So I get it. You want the Ohio State offense to come out there and dominate and look great and put up 49 points. It doesn't always work that way. In the end, even before they changed to the 12-team field, which I can't wait, even before that, we know that if Ohio State wins the Big Ten, especially in this landscape now, they are going to go to the college football playoff. So ultimately, it doesn't matter that they only won 21-10 because the offense will come around. They'll score plenty of points as the season goes along. But I think it was good to see the defense play well against a team that should be good offensively. Yeah, they're going to – and now the next thing that I hate about college football is like people are going to get so worked up about the ranking. And the polls mean nothing. How you've been convinced that polls – they only mean something because – first of all, there should be no polls till after week 6. It's dumb that they do it. It's not dumb. They do it because idiots like me are going to talk about it. And then when Georgia had a great win. They played Oregon. They destroyed them 49-3. And so Georgia's going to hop over Ohio State, and people get worked up about that, which, obviously they should because they had the more impressive win, right? They dominated. Ohio State didn't dominate. All that matters is win. All that should matter is win. But we have this stupid system. Yeah. What are you going to do? All right, folks, I got to talk to you about something here. Sleeper. Do you know what Sleeper is? I didn't know about Sleeper until recently, but Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy platform today. With the NFL season kicking off, Sleeper is climbing the charts with over 4 million plus users. In addition, they just launched 22 new features, including over-unders integrated into fantasy, the first sports contest game built into the fantasy experience. Not only can you enter a contest via over-under itself, but you can also do so through your fantasy league's matchup screen. It's super simple. First, in any sport, choose 2 or more players that you like and pick the over-under. For example, rushing yards in football, a number of points in basketball, then choose the amount of money you want to enter into the contest. If you pick correctly, you can win anywhere from 2 times to over 20 times the money you put in. This is unbelievable. The main reason I'm excited about Over Under on Sleeper is that it's the only app where I can join my friends' contests and play together. It's got a built-in group chat where I can see and copy my group picks with a tap of a button. It's insanely fun to ride it out together, to bust chops, and have all that fun. On your mobile, so stop what you're doing. Download Sleeper now to play the Over Under game. Have fun with your friends. Make some money. On your mobile phone, join our listener group. And Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms for details. Sleeper, the promo code, here we go, sleeper.com/lockedonbets or sleeper.com/lockedontoday. That's the promo code there. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. Sleeper.com/lockedonbets or sleeper.com/lockedontoday. There you go. Quick break. And to switch gears, I got to get to the Guardians. I got to get to the Browns. All of it. Big week right here in the bullpen. Drink up. I'm just drinking water. That's it. Okay. So let's get to the Guardians here, and then we'll get to the Browns after that. Guardians have been playing lousy baseball, and like with the Buckeyes, there's been panic. And what I don't understand is, why are you panicking? Well, I shouldn't say that. I get why you're panicking. The Guardians had a 4-game lead. It was tied, and now it's a 1-game lead. They did win in extra innings last night after a long rain delay. But, folks, how many times do I have to tell you? This is who they are. We knew you had to know a streak like this was coming. They've done this all season long. Hot, cold. Hot, cold. They're not a team that is just going to play in the middle. They haven't done that all season. They're not. You got to hope that they're in a hot streak by the time the playoffs start, if they make the playoffs. And it won't be easy because they only have, at this point, a 1-game lead, which they did. They got that 1-game lead because Minnesota lost yesterday, and the Guardians won. They did win in extra innings. Clase gets the save, gives up the unearned run in the bottom. That was the 11th. I can't even remember now. Guardians only 5 games over 500, but better than the alternative, which was 3 games over if they had lost last night. They had lost 8 of 10 before winning that game. They are not playing well. They are not hitting at all. But don't panic. They will turn it back around. I have to say, I hate the fact that I've said it a couple of times. I'm really frustrated with Francona. I don't understand why he's hitting Jimenez 6th and 7th. I get, in theory, you want to stretch out the lineup a little bit, but the guy's slumping. I think part of it's because he's hitting so low in the lineup. Did get a couple of hits yesterday. Maybe that'll get him going. I hate him hitting in the 6th and 7th spot. He's got no protection in the lineup. Why is Miles Straw playing every day? Tito, you would kind of relegated him to part-time duty. I don't understand that. Let's get Nolan Jones up. Give me somebody else from the minors that might be able to hit. Let's play Stephen Kwan in center field. Listen, I've been hard on Hedges since he's been in Cleveland. But I can live with one, and Hedges brings almost nothing to the table offensively. Clearly, I'm not changing my thoughts on that. That's just a fact, right? But having a catcher that runs the pitching staff and controls that is important. Okay? So I've in the last month, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it with Hedges. But Miles Straw, here's the thing. Not every catcher is great defensively. You don't play center field if you're not a good defensive player. Now, Miles Straw may be better than somebody else, but it's not going to be that big a difference. I can't start a center fielder who can't hit, and Miles Straw can't hit. He hasn't hit the entire season. He's not. I think he did get 2 hits yesterday, but he's not going to hit. He has no power at all. At least Austin Hedges might hit 10 home runs. So he probably won't hit 10 this year. I think he's got 6 or 7. But Miles Straw can't. He'll steal a base here and there. I can't have him in the lineup. I got to have another bat. I don't care if it weakens center field defensively a little bit. I could live with it. I think Stephen Kwan will be fine in center field. We got to have another bat up here. And Tito's got to move Francona in the lineup. That being said, I'm not panicking. Maybe it sounds like it because I'm worked up because I want to see some things change, and I don't get Francona's obsession with Miles Straw. I'll never get that. But I can't have 2 hitters in the bottom of the lineup that can't hit. I can't have 2, and then you stick in your second-best hitter right before them. I don't understand. Jimenez should be hitting 3rd or 2nd. What are we doing here? This is just crazy. Put somebody else in the bottom of the lineup. Go again, bring up Nolan Jones. Bring him back up. Give me somebody. Give me some bat I could put in the outfield. Because Miles Straw's killing the Guardians. That being said, the rest of these guys that are slumping, Rosario's hit the skids here a little bit. Jimenez has hit the skids here a little bit. We know Jose hasn't been great since the injury. These guys are going to come around. They are. Hot and cold. We've seen it all year. They're in their cold streak now. They lost 8 of 10. Hopefully yesterday's win gets them going. Hopefully playing the Royals gets them going. They've really struggled against the Mariners. They could end up playing the Mariners in the playoffs. They have 29 games left to go. And I think I think this week will hopefully get them going. And they better, because obviously you got to get out of your slump soon, because after this Royals series, you've got 8 of your next 12 games against, or 8 of 12 against the Twins, and then one of the 12 against the White. Well, actually, go even further. You have 12 of your next 16 games after this Kansas City series, 12 of 16 against Minnesota and Chicago. Now, I thought the White Sox were done. They've been a mess of a team. But obviously, they've played much better lately. They've won 5 of their last 6 after they had been playing terrible baseball, and because the Guardians weren't playing well and the Twins weren't playing well, they've closed the gap. They're right there. This is going to come down to the wire. The White Sox are not out of it. They still got a lot of talent. I thought they were. I think I'm wrong. I hope I'm right, but I think I'm wrong. I still believe the Guardians are going to win the division. I still believe the bats will get hot before the end of the year. But come on, guys. We can't keep running Miles Straw out there. It's driving me nuts. Nuts. But they needed that one last night, and they blew it late. The Royals scored in the 8th to tie it, and the Salvador Perez double. Fortunately, they scored 2 because the Royals came back with 1 in the bottom of that inning. And we need, and that would have been a brutal loss to lose that game last night. But they get the 2 in the again, it was the 11th. I can't remember now. I always assume it was the 10th. I don't know why I was thinking it was the 11th. Yeah, they scored 2 in the top of the 10th, and then they gave up the 1 in the bottom 10th, and that was it. So we need Bieber to pitch a big game today. And the pitching's really got to lock it down. You got the injuries to play. And Plesac again. He's punching them. What is he doing? Can this guy stop being a knucklehead? He was just kind of rounding into form where you kind of trusted him as the fourth starter, and now he gets hurt. And Savali, forget about it. So we'll see what they got going. But in terms of, I would assume Connor Pilkington will pitch a game. They've called him up. And he's been all right this year. We'll see what they do here, but it will be Bieber tonight. They need him to pitch well. But the only problem with Bieber going tonight is he's going to miss this Twins series. That's unfortunate. But he'll pitch in the Twin series at home. But the Guardians of Quantrill and McKenzie pitch in the Twin series. I don't think they've announced who's pitching the first game of that series this weekend on Friday. We'll see. They're going to face the Twins' best starter, Joe Ryan. I think they're going to miss Sonny Gray, who's their other good starter. And I think they're also going to miss Ohtani when they play the Angels at home next week, which will be good to avoid him. So, one other thing for baseball over the weekend, great performance by, oh my God, I forgot his name now. What is wrong with me this morning? I got to look it up. The White Sox starter who pitched a near no-hitter. What can I think of it? Oh, Dylan Cease. Jeez. I was watching that game on, was it Saturday night? During the Buckeyes, we put it on. My friend Ed's calling me during the podcast. Ed, I'll call you back. I'm recording my podcast right now, so I'll call you back later. Got to hang up on Ed. Dylan C. So during the Buckeye game, I flip over to we're doing a fantasy draft, watching the Buckeye game, and then I flip over to see Dylan Cease, and he gives up a 2-out single to Luis Arraez. Lost his no-hitter with 2 outs in the ninth. That's painful. All right, we'll take a break. We're going to wrap it up with the first look at Game 1, Week 1, Browns, Panthers. I am so ready to get this on. Next, in the bullpen, with Adam the Bull. Here we go, baby. I did all my fantasy. Well, I still have one fantasy. I got my fantasy auction tonight. Last one of all my 1 million drafts. I cannot wait. Cannot wait for the start. I'm excited about baseball and the playoffs and all that jazz, but I am beyond pumped for the start of the football season. 2 days, the first game of the year, and what a great game it is. Bills, Rams. Ooh, I'll give you my prediction on that game versus the spread. We don't do this nonsense. How about these losers who do podcasts or radio or TV who pick games without the spread? And then they brag about their record. If you pick games without the spread, you're a softie. Go away. I have no interest in you. I'll pick all the games versus the spread. Bills, Rams. Bills are a 2.5. The Super Bowl champs are a 2.5-point dog at home to start the season. How about that's how good Vegas thinks the Bills are. That they are a 2.5-point favorite over the defending Super Bowl champions on the road. That's pretty wild. And then I'll pick the rest of the games on Friday, obviously, with a big, well, except for the Monday night game. There's only one Monday night game, right? Yeah, Broncos Seahawks. Not a great game, except for Russell Wilson going back to Seattle is the intriguing thing. Speaking of which, we all know that at Bank of America Stadium, hate those names, in Charlotte, North Carolina, the rough and tumble Carolina Panthers will be playing host to the Cleveland Browns, and the Panthers are now a 2.5-point favorite over the Browns, and I get it. For crying out loud, in all my fantasy league drafts this weekend, Deshaun Watson was drafted before Jacoby Brissett. Browns fans, get realistic about your quarterback situation. Jacoby Brissett is one of, if not the worst starting quarterback in the NFL for the first 11 weeks. That's the situation. Wrap your head around it. I'm not saying he might not play a good game or two, but he is one of, if not the worst starting quarterbacks. That's the situation. Now, does that mean they can't win? No. We've seen teams play well for a while with a subpar quarterback when they do everything else right. Now, fortunately, they'll get Deshaun Watson back. Otherwise, they have no chance. But you have to be realistic about where you rank in the quarterback pantheon. Brissett's one of the worst. Accept it, live with it. Don't try to convince me I'm wrong because I'm right. All right? You don't be so much of a homer that you can't see that you don't have a good quarterback. However, the Browns are going to kick the crap out of the Panthers. The defense is going to play like their hair is on freaking fire. Do you hear what I'm saying? Baker is an arrogant D. They know it. They're not saying anything. He's putting out his T-shirts. Oh, Baker had such a tough life here in Cleveland. He had to get off the leash in Carolina. You folks wanted me to say something, and you don't like it. I didn't say that. One day later, hey, I'm promoting my T-shirts. By the way, some good Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show T-shirts. Speaking of promoting the T-shirts through Cleveland Clothing Company, you got to get in the mix with this. The Browns are going to beat the Panthers. Somebody asked me to do a cameo to cheer up their dad because their dad is worried they're going to lose. Now, listen, of course it's possible the Panthers win this game. I know it's going to feel like the end of the world if it happens. It's not. But I'm telling you, I feel very confident, very confident. Remember what I said before about, talking as if you know for sure when obviously you can't know for sure who's going to win a game. I feel very confident the Browns are going to win because to beat the Panthers, you don't have to have a great quarterback. Now, if they had Deshaun Watson, Browns would be a touchdown favorite in this game. Probably. Maybe a 4 or 5 point favorite. Something like that. They'd be at least 7 points better than where they are, which is a 2.5 point dog. The Panthers have a decent team. But here's the reality. Baker's not that good a quarterback either. He is mediocre at best. So the Browns are going to go there. The defense is going to play crazy. The running game, which everybody's panicking about the offense based on preseason. Folks, don't be one of those idiots that panics about the preseason because, first of all, none of your best players played. Amari Cooper didn't play. Nick Chubb didn't play. Kareem Hunt didn't play. Those are your 3 best players. I can't remember if David Njoku played. I don't think he played either. If I'm wrong, I apologize. And he's their 4th best player. So who cares what happened in the freaking preseason? The Browns need to go to Carolina and take care of business. You can win over 11 weeks. You can win, hopefully, enough. Now, I'm not going to lie. Right now, today, am I picking the Browns to make the playoffs? I'm not. I think they're going to go 9-8. But I think it's possible they can do better. But, I was reading this column yesterday where, I can't remember if it was CBS or, I don't remember where it was, but they had the exact same thoughts I had. The Browns' ceiling is 11 wins this year. Their floor is I think they had it at 7. And their most likely outcome was 9. And that's where I'm going. I think it's possible the Browns could win 11 games if everything goes well. But I think their floor is probably 7. Shouldn't be lower than that. And even that would be a disaster. But I think if you played the season 100 times, the Browns go 9-8 most often. That's what I got to go with. I'm hoping they reach the ceiling rather than the floor, rather than the more common. But this first game, once you start playing the better teams in the middle of the schedule with Jacoby Brissett, that becomes tougher. But if you play mediocre or bad teams with Jacoby Brissett, because your talent around him is so good, you're still going to win a decent amount of those games. And I think this game in particular, they've been waiting to play against Baker since the moment he got traded. And yeah, he's been waiting to play against them. But as John Johnson said the other day in training camp, I think it was yesterday, not training camp, but in practice yesterday, who has the advantage? He said, I think we have the advantage because there's 11 of us and only 1 of him. There you go. Browns are going to kick the crap out of the Panthers. I have never been more confident. I better freaking be right. All right, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Adam the Bull. There you go. I've been knocking out the cameo videos. I'm having such a great time doing them, picking fantasy drafts if you still draft orders, if you're still waiting to do that. I can do it for your basketball fantasy draft if you want. Weddings, congratulations, birthdays, whatever you need. Pump up somebody, which I did for some guy, as I mentioned before. Whatever you do, go to Cameo, look for my profile, Adam the Bull. I'll do it. I'll have so much fun with it. Check. Make sure you subscribe. We hit 13,000 subscribers, at the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. That's where you get access to the podcast and the TV show. That's going to be a great show today. Aditi Kinkawala will be on. And check out my buddy G. Bush's podcast with Jeff Lloyd, Locked on Browns as well. I check out my website, adamthebull.com. Find out how you can book me for special events. That's it. Yeah, I did burp right at the end of the show. I apologize, but why am I apologizing? It's a burp. We all burp. Who cares? I'll talk to you tomorrow. Where else? Right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull. See ya.